Hi, everybody, and welcome to the platform. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, I ask you to do that one thing for me. Go down, hit that subscribe button. I appreciate it. I love new subscribers. I love my old subscribers. So if this is your first time tuning in, welcome. If you have watched previous videos, then welcome back. Today, I have wow, today has just been such an amazing day. I had just a lot of stuff to do and I got everything done. So feeling kind of proud of myself. So I was like, let me go ahead and get a video done. And then I will truly be able to say that I did everything that was on my to-do list for today. But I was listening to something because I watch YouTube videos just like everyone else, of course, and I'm not going to say the person's name, but for those of you who may be familiar with it, you'll know who I'm talking about. There is a very popular singer, gospel artist. I believe she came to notoriety through a show called Sunday's Best. And she has a beautiful voice, and I've heard her and seen her perform, and I just love the energy and the spirit that she brings into all of her performances, and just has a wonderful voice. Well, I was reading some articles because her name kept coming up, and so I said, let me check it out and see, what's going on. Well, apparently, she had a video that came out that I think she did it herself, live video. And on that video, she was having a moment. I'm just going to put it that way. She was having a moment. And she made some comments about the gospel music industry. She made some comments about some other well-known gospel artist. And she used some profanity in the video. And because of that, she was scheduled, I believe, to perform at a certain event or at several events, and she was pulled from the lineup because of the things that she had said. And then more recently, I saw a video of her on an episode of, and I'm going to try to say her name right because I just love her, Iyanla Vanzant. If I have said that wrong and Miss Vanzant happens to watch this, I apologize. And in order to ensure that I do not mispronounce your name ever again, hit me up. We'll talk about it. But anyway, she was on an episode of Change My Life. And, and what I wanted to really talk about was just the backlash that she received after that video hit social media. And there were some people, and I hate making blanket statements by saying everybody, because of course it wasn't everybody, but there were some people who had a big problem with the fact that she used profanity. There were others that had a problem with the fact that she appeared to be under the influence of something, intoxicated or whatever. And they were just like, how could she do that? How could she come out like that and embarrass herself and embarrass the industry? And, she's supposed to be a gospel singer. She's supposed to be this and she's supposed to be that. Stop it. We're just going to stop right there. And this is not just for this young woman. This is for all of us. No matter what we do, no matter what our position, no matter what our platform may be, whether we're in front of one person or 100,000 people, the one thing that we all have in common is that we're human. The second thing that we all have in common is that we have all made mistakes. The next thing that we have in common is that we all have something in our life that we wish we could undo or redo. Because we're not perfect. But when we have people who we put up on a pedestal, because most people don't put themselves up in certain positions because you're not able to. You may have a beautiful singing voice, but we elevate people. We elevate them to a certain position and we hold them up there as long as they are able to meet the requirements that we set. But once they reveal their humanness, once we see their flaws, basically, once we realize that they are just like us, we turn. The same mouth that we used to praise them is now the same mouth that we use to curse them. The same way we talked about them to our friends, that how good the concert was and how good the show was, that's the same mouth we use to now say, girl, you know what I heard? Girl, she was on YouTube drunk. The same mouth. The same mouth we use to praise is the same mouth we use to curse. The same mouth we use to build up is the same mouth we use to tear down. And generally, the atrocity that the person has committed that makes us go after them is that they have dared to show us that they are not perfect. How dare they not be perfect? How dare they be just as flawed as we are? Once the lights go off, once the cameras stop rolling, you're somebody's mother. You're somebody's dad. You have children that are in crisis. You have sick parents. You have worries. You have the same thing that everyone else has. But as long as you are entertaining us, as long as you are keeping us in a state where we don't have to worry about our problems because we're being entertained by you, we're okay with you. We're all good. But the moment we start to see the crack in the perfection, not that you said you had, but in the perfection that we perceived you to have because you have a certain amount of money, or you're on television, or you look a certain way, you live in a certain house, you drive a certain car. We tie all those things into being perfect. And once we start to see the crack in that perfection, now we start to tear you down. We don't mind you coming out here singing and entertaining us and bringing the spirit so we can clap and we can dance and we can feel good. But you better not have no problems. You better not have no issues. Because if you do, we're going to throw you on the heap with the rest of them. And we're going to tell the next perfect person to come on down and entertain us, make us laugh, make us happy, make us feel good. But do not show us your humanness. Do not show us your flaws. Because once you show us that, we're going to throw you away. How dare you cuss? How dare you get upset, get angry, have emotions? You're not supposed to do that. I watch you on television. You're the pastor of the church. You're on this board. You're on that board. You're over the women's ministry. You're CEO of a corporation. How dare you be human? How dare you be just like me? With the same anxieties, the same worries, the same fears, the same issues, the same problems, the same concerns. How dare you? You're supposed to be perfect for me. There are no perfect people. We were made imperfect. We don't even strive for perfection. We should simply strive to be better. Better today than I was yesterday. And I'm going to try to be better tomorrow than I was today. But I'm never going to be perfect. I never want to be. My prayer is always for God to keep me humble and to give me a servant's heart. I say that a lot. You will hear that a lot if you watch my videos. A servant's heart. Because a servant's heart, it does not matter what you're doing. You're just happy to be one of the ones that's able to do. I was a business owner for many years, ran a business, and a lot of the people that came in to be more clear, I owned a daycare center. And a lot of the parents would come in, and I was a very hands-on owner. I was there pretty much every day, my husband and I. But a lot of the parents, my new parents, when they would come in, they would see me in the cafeteria, and I would be mopping the floor after lunch or cleaning off the tables. And I love to paint and do murals. So I would be doing a mural on the wall or, running the vacuum cleaner, taking the trash out. They didn't know who I was. And when they would have an issue or they wanted to talk to the owner, and my director would send them into the office, and then, a few minutes later, I'd come walking in and they'd be like, you're the owner? And I would say, well, yes, ma'am. Yes, sir, I'm the owner. And they would be like, well, I saw you plunger in the toilet in the 3-year-old room. Well, yes, you did, because it was stopped up. So it doesn't matter what position you serve in, as long as your service is sincere and as long as your service is pleasing in the eyes of God. But I just think we ought to give people the opportunity that we give ourselves. We allow ourselves wiggle room when we make a mistake. When the people that we love hurt us, we give them another chance. But we hold some people up to an unmeetable standard. And it doesn't really matter whether or not you know that person personally or not, because, when you open yourself up for the world to see you, even what I'm doing, and this is a very new thing for me, having a YouTube channel and opening myself up, you open yourself up for criticism. You open yourself up for someone to say something to hurt you. You open yourself up for the possibility of millions of people to have an opinion about your life. So I guess if I had to have a takeaway, my takeaway would be to offer and extend grace. A very, very sweet, dear friend of mine says that all the time. Where is the grace? Extend grace. And if you do that, not only will you find that it's easy to understand people, but you will also find that it's easier to understand yourself. Because in everything that we see people do, there's a little bit of us in there. And if not us, then someone we know. If we learn to extend grace and learn to hold our tongue, hold our opinion, we don't have to comment on everything. I have been in the middle of typing a text, and I will be like, somebody will text me something. It might even be my husband. I'm going to use my husband. He'll send me a text. Well, I won't use my husband because, to be honest, I love that man. And, we have our moments, but they are so far and few between. I can't even use my husband as an example on this, but I can use my children. So I'm going to use my children. They'll send me some little jacked up text message, right? I'll be in the middle of texting them back, and baby, I'm blowing it up. I'm doing two fingers in the air, but I really text like this. So I'll be texting, get all this stuff down, and then I'll look at it. And you know what? Delete, backspace. Because what I realized, it didn't need all of that. Most of the time, it didn't need any of that. I don't even reply. It's okay to not comment, to not reply, to extend grace, to put yourself in somebody else's shoes and say, if it were me, I would want someone to extend grace to me. So I try to leave you with a challenge. So my challenge is extend grace. Extend grace to someone. Be blessed.